And that's why I personally really believe in the Elon Musk mission.
Mars,
or specifically becoming a multiplanetary species, like to keep us, like that's the main thing that's going to keep us alive.
Would you be patient zero?
I wouldn't.
Send at least 4,000 people up there before you get me a fucking rocket ship.
I'm slightly risk averse, but I'd definitely get on a rocket at some point and go to space.
Being the first person though, that would be
first person to step on another planet.
But once you're on there, you're never getting off.
Well, right now with that current technology.
Yeah, or
in your lifetime.
How long are they planning to? Have they said how long they're planning this trip to take?
Well, how long does it take to get there? It takes about 6 months to get there.
Is that it? Or is that it? That's a long time. I thought it would take longer than that.
The orbits of Earth and Mars aren't like always the same, and there's like periods in the year where the trip between like from Earth to Mars happens in 6 months, and that's like around like the fastest I believe. I would have to double check that, but I think it's around that. It's 6 to 8 months, but so that's like the trip. But then in terms of staying there, like I think initially it's going to be robots. Like we'll send a bunch of robots there. Like we've already got rovers there on Mars anyway at the moment. But I think probably what's going to have to happen is
send a chat GPT.
You send a chat GPT
inside a body.
Inside a body. Probably, man. Like that. Yeah. Like we need some sort of like robot that can do stuff that can not die from the atmosphere initially, right? We're going to have to start digging up resources. We're going to have to start like setting up systems that we can extract oxygen from the environment. So like there's caves where there's like frozen ice and water, so we're going to need to like figure out where they are, and like it's a massive problem to solve, right? It's huge to figure out how do we set up a permanent colony on Mars, considering we can't breathe the atmosphere. And it's like always freezing temperatures, and it's never.
They have to introduce some sort of water into it so they can get some sort of atmosphere.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm talking about. By the way,
the atmosphere is tough because they don't, like in Earth we have like lava that spins around in the very center of us, and there's like some molten metals in there. I'm not a geologist, so I don't know the exact thing that's happening, but basically because there's this like molten core that's created this magnetic field around the Earth. So when they call it solar wind, and basically just a lot of shit coming from the sun. I'm not this is my field, I just barely know it, but basically there's this stuff called solar wind, and because we have a magnetic field that actually like bounces the solar wind away from us, and but Mars doesn't have a molten core. I'm pretty sure they believe or they know it's not a molten core, and there's no magnetic field around Mars. So
shit just zings by.
So all that they used to have an atmosphere, but the solar wind has stripped it away from Mars. So even if we figure out how to terraform Mars, that's what they call it, change the planet. It's called terraforming the planet. Even if we decide to terraform Mars and change the atmosphere, the solar wind's gonna fuck it anyway, right? So like there's like hypothesis and like maybe what we can do is this is like assuming humans get to this point, maybe we can build a mega structure, like a screen in front of Mars between the sun and Mars that can like bounce away things for us. Like there's always crazy ideas of like how to solve that problem, assuming we can build it, like what could be built that could fix that problem. But yeah, so that's thousands of years in the future. We're talking about like 10k years in the future to type
which
situation.
Still isn't much.
Which isn't. It's a blink in the eye. It's a blink in time, right? But really, I think the product, like it's going to be caves and it's going to be domes, is what the initial situation is going to be on Mars, and we're going to have to get there. We're going to have to figure out some way to extract water from. Basically, we need water and air, and we're not going to be able to survive. Well, initially, it's all going to come from Earth, so we're going to have like tanks. That's going to be like it's going to be like many rockets delivering Earth water and air to a location for like I don't know 10-20 times, and then the human will go knowing they've got enough water and air. It's going to be like a long time of setting it up, but we have to start somewhere. If we remain on Earth, we've seen the history of all humans.
Can't they replicate the conditions in like some sort of environment on Earth?
Yeah, so like a dome.
Yeah.
A dome. Yeah. So like that's the ideal. Either a cave where they just hollow out fucking underneath, and that helps like protect against there's like giant sandstorms on Mars, so that would help protect against any crap in the atmosphere that's gonna like kill you. So going underground it would be a good solution, but that would take a lot of effort. You need like diggers and shit to build down. So it's gonna be domes initially. So just big solid domes that might have some like thick glass so you can get some sunlight in. But
it'd be interesting to say people go to Mars and say it's a successful mission, and it ends up getting a population of say like 4,000 to 5,000 people. It'd be weird to see what kind of genetic mutations they get in 100 years or 1,000 years or 10,000 years, because they won't look the same as us anymore.
It's like 1/3 of the gravity. 1/3.
Yeah, like that. How will their body change and morph to make that optimal for that kind of like landscape? That would be if they would look like aliens.
Like a million years in the future.
They would look like aliens, which is a spin out. Because what if, just throwing shit at a wall, like imagine if this all happened 2 million years ago and we did make it to another planet and they're just the people that got fucking left there.
What if there's like already colonies on Mars?
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. Yeah, like it's like
because they would have to adapt to their, like, I don't know, what is Mars denser?
It's the physical size of the planet is smaller, and
like if you jump in Mars, is it harder to jump or do you float a bit?
Way higher. So all the video footage of people jumping on the moon, went really really high and fell down. That's because the moon is six times less gravity. So basically you fall 6 times slower. Mars is 3 times slower.
All right.
So it's still much slower than Earth, right? And what it's going to mean is they're going to, let's say we have a colony on Mars and it's gone well, and where they get their own resources and they're fine and they can grow their own food, yada yada yada. So assuming that's the future we're looking at, because people on Earth are much stronger because we're fighting against way more gravity. What's going to happen, I think, is there will always be people from Earth that are able to come to Mars. But if people are born in Mars and their body has evolved to adjust to that new gravity, they are going to not be able to come back to Earth.
The pressure will destroy their bones.
It might be too much for them.
So they'd be like maybe smaller, skinnier, frailer.
No, I think it's taller.
Taller.
Because the gravity isn't pushing down on them as much.
Yeah.
There's less gravity, and they're because what we find is astronauts that go to space where there's zero gravity. So at least on Mars there's some gravity. There's like 3 times, a third of Earth's. In the space station there's no gravity, and those astronauts come back like a few inches taller or something because their spines have stretched out because there's no gravity squeezing their spines down.
Be good for you.
Not good at all.
That can't be good for you at all.
And that's also a big problem. And they're there for 4 months or 6 months, and it's already a problem. And the commute from Earth to Mars is 6 months, right? So people are going to go there already in like a damaged state from being in no gravity for 6 months. So people are thinking about, all right, maybe we have a big spinning dome that has like centrifugal gravity. So like you have a bit of gravity when you go there, and like
if you if going to the space station, I guess going to the space station is pretty streamlined at this point. But if it was 100% like fail proof, how much you paying to go to the space station? If it was just like a domestic flight, like an international flight.
Mate. Well, right now I'm a poor student, so but if I've got the funds, I'd pay it to go. Like absolutely. 10K. It was 10.
Return.
Absolutely 10K. The 10. Bargain. Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be more like 100 to fucking $500,000.
Nah, surely eventually they'll get it down to like 10,000 a ticket to go to space.
I think for it to be 10,000, that's very cheap.
Is it? I guess the fuel would probably.
The fuel is so expensive.
But what if you can run how many people can you fit on one of these things? If they make it,
how many people are fitting in? Well, on the new Starship, I should look that up. Maybe it's like 10 people in the cockpit. I'm not sure. But that isn't that isn't many people, right? For like a
it's
giant,
not enough money.
you're gonna need like 100 to 500, a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like 100K it's probably gonna cost.
100K is probably reasonable.
Yeah,
10
like
people,
right
$1 million.
now, like for us to make it, for us to be a true spacefaring civilization, there is one big hurdle that we need, and we need to be able to escape from our gravity as well. Basically, that's get up to like space station height away from the Earth. We're going to need to get there without spending so much fuel, because like most of the fuel is actually spent in the bottom part of the Earth because
When it's thrusting up.
because like the gravity is stronger and stronger the closer you are to the Earth, and as you get further and further away, the pull from the Earth gets lesser and less and less. So that like once they're like halfway up, it takes less fuel for them to go, right? So if we could like start already away from the Earth, then we're gonna like it's gonna be way easier. So a big idea that's gonna be some point in the future would be a space elevator where you have this giant cable and then it carts you up to this
Point, and then you
point.
go.
Exactly. There'd be some like station that's above the Earth. Exactly right.
That
Yeah.
that noise. So when I imagine it's extremely loud when you're taking off inside there. But that noise when you reach space and everything just cuts off would be so eerie.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be, and then
But also relief because you're not dead.
yeah, that would be such a terrible death.
Yeah, it's I think was like the first person ever to try to go to space. He died. Like there's some people that like the cockpit blew up in fire and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty risky. You're strapping yourself to a big bomb, really.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild time in like 1,000 years.